Once, I was part of a group of students who were always looking for the next thrill. We were a close-knit circle, bonded by our shared love for the unknown and the supernatural. One evening, we decided to explore the abandoned school that stood on the outskirts of town. It had been the subject of numerous ghost stories, and we were determined to uncover the truth. As the sun set, we gathered our flashlights and set off toward the school. The building loomed ahead of us, its windows broken and its walls covered in ivy. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and something else is something I couldn't quite place. With each step closer, an unspoken tension grew among us. Despite our bravado, we were all feeling the weight of the legends surrounding this place. Entering the school, we found ourselves in a large, echoing hallway. Dust floated in the beams of our flashlights, and the silence was almost deafening. As we ventured deeper, the atmosphere became more oppressive. Every creak and groan of the old building set our nerves on edge. We split up into smaller groups to cover more ground. My group headed toward the classrooms on the first floor. The rooms were filled with broken desks and scattered papers, remnants of a time when this place was alive with the chatter of students. As we moved from room to room, we began to feel a strange chill in the air, and the feeling of being watched grew stronger. In one of the classrooms, we found an old chalkboard with faded writing still visible. "They never left. Eerie." We exchanged uneasy glances but pressed on, determined to find out what it meant. As we turned to leave, a sudden noise made us freeze. It was a faint whispering, almost imperceptible, but undeniably there. My heart raced as I skimmed the room. But we were alone, or so it seemed. We regrouped in the main hallway, and it was clear that everyone had experienced something unsettling. One of us, a girl named Sarah, claimed she had seen a shadowy figure in the library. Her face was pale, and her hands trembled as she spoke. We decided to investigate the library together. The library was one of the largest rooms in the school, its shelves still lined with dusty books. As we entered, the temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Our flashlights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the room, and we all jumped. We turned to see one of the books had fallen from a shelf. As we approached, another book flew off the shelf, then another. It was as if an invisible force was throwing them at us. Panic set in, and we started to back away when we heard a child's laughter, soft and sinister. It echoed through the library, chilling us to the bone. Desperate to leave, we made our way back to the hallway, but the door we had entered through was now closed. No matter how hard we pushed, it wouldn't budge. It was then that we realized we were not alone. The stories about the school were true. The spirits of the students who had died here were real, and they were not happy about our intrusion. We decided to try the exit on the second floor. As we climbed the stairs, the whispers grew louder, more urgent. It felt as though unseen hands were pushing us, guiding us towards something. We reached the second-floor hallway and saw a figure at the end of it. It was a girl in an old-fashioned school uniform, her eyes hollow and dark. She raised a hand, and the whisper stopped. In a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, she spoke, "Leave now, or suffer the same fate." We didn't need to be told twice. We turned and ran, searching desperately for an exit. We found a window that wasn't barred and climbed through it, scrambling down to the ground below. As we ran away from the school, I looked back and saw the girl standing in the window, watching us with those hollow eyes. We never spoke of that night again, but it left an indelible mark on each of us. The abandoned school was more than just a creepy old building. It was a place of restless spirits and dark secrets. From that night on, I could never shake the feeling that we had narrowly escaped something far worse than just a scare. The school remained a silent sentinel to the tragedies that had unfolded within its walls, waiting for the next group of thrill seekers to discover its haunted secrets. Leaving the grounds of the abandoned school, we thought the worst was behind us. However, the experiences of that night haunted my dreams for weeks to come. Each night, I would see the girl with the hollow eyes, her gaze piercing through me, her warning echoing in my mind. One night, I woke up to find a piece of paper on my desk. It was old and yellowed, like the papers we had seen scattered in the classrooms. Written on it in shaky handwriting were the words, "They never left." I knew I hadn't brought anything back from the school, so how did it get there? A chill ran down my spine as I realized the spirits had followed us. Determined to find answers, I started researching the history of the school. I discovered that it had been shut down after a series of mysterious deaths. Several students had died under unexplained circumstances, and their spirits were said to linger, unable to find peace. The girl in the uniform was one of them. Her name was Emily, and she had died in a tragic accident in the library. I felt compelled to go back, to find a way to help the spirits find peace. I shared my findings with the group, and despite our fear, we decided to return to the school one last time. This time, we came prepared with sage and candles, hoping to cleanse the place and free the trapped souls. As we entered the school, the oppressive atmosphere was even stronger than before. We went to the library, where Emily had appeared to us. We lit the candles and burned the sage, chanting words of peace and release. For a moment, nothing happened, and I feared it was all in vain. But then, the temperature dropped, and we saw her again. Emily stood before us, her expression softer, almost sad. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice carrying a mix of relief and sorrow. One by one, the other spirits appeared, their forms flickering in the candlelight. They looked at us with gratitude before slowly fading away. The school seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The air was lighter, the oppressive feeling gone. We knew the spirits had finally found peace. As we left the school for the last time, I felt a sense of closure. We had faced our fears and helped those trapped in the past to move on. Though the memories of that night still linger, they no longer haunt me. Instead, they serve as a reminder of the power of courage and compassion. The abandoned school stands empty now, a silent witness to the stories of those who never left, and the ones who helped them find their way home.